Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Get a sip here. I think I'm kind of coming down with something, but we're going to power through tonight because we got some juicy drama. Ooh, we got some juicy drama to go over tonight. I'm pretty stoked for it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm always down for some good drama, especially when it's in like the influencer space, you know? I don't want to call them slop tubers, but yeah, we got some good drama popping off. So if you haven't heard already, we're just gonna get right into it. If you have not heard already, Candace Owens has dropped a video. It's gonna be a series, but the first video that she released, or actually the series is gonna be called Bride of Charlie, and it is focused on exposing Erika Kirk, like basically doing a deep dive into Erika's backstory, her life, going through all the lies and the weird things that keep popping up in the narrative and the story that we've been given. You know, who she is, this you know, good Christian woman, etc. Right? All that shit. So Candace drops that, and then Dan Bongino, the old mangina, Bongina, comes out and he absolutely drops this video that has a lot of cusses in it, right? A lot of curse words, but he has some choice words for Candace Owens. So I want to dive into that. I want to look at that drama. Want to savor it a little bit. And then we're gonna talk about what's going on, because there's definitely a coordinated smear campaign pointed at Candace Owens, and it's clearly driven by something. So we're gonna look at that. Where could it be coming from? Huh. It's, you know, it's weird because they're all saying the same exact thing. So, but anyways, let's get into it. Let's look at this. We'll start off with this Dan Bongino clip, and that'll kind of set the stage a little bit. So let me pop that up, make sure that's going. All right, let us get into this.
Hey,
again, just a warning, there's a lot of F-bombs in this, so if you happen to be watching this show with small children and you care about that type of thing, make sure you boot them out.
I think so. We'll see. Even an old 51 years old, I don't walk around all day terrified about my security situation. Maybe I should, but I don't.
Oh, because he's so manly.
I'm nobody's victim. I chose a public life, and sadly, this is a part of it.
He's no victim, unlike all the victims on the Epstein files that he clearly didn't give a shit about.
Erika didn't choose this, man.
Dramatic.
She didn't choose this.
Can't tell if he's like gonna cry or if he put too big of a zin in his mouth or something. He's gonna cry or throw up.
Imagine sitting there in your house and you find out from Twitter or, I don't know, a text or a phone call, or that your husband was just shot in the neck for the entire world to see on social media at a public event.
Yeah, it's pretty traumatic, right? But then there's the Zoom call that got leaked with Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA like 3 days after her husband tragically got shot in the neck, and she's giggling and talking about merch sales and stuff.
I can't imagine that. I know you can't either. Then you got to go through this. Then you got a bunch of absolute fucking lunatics.
Ooh, boy.
Sending her emails. You did it. Comments, tweets. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. You demonic fucking scum.
Demonic scum. Pay attention to that because it comes up a lot. We'll talk about it. Do not forget that little line there. I don't really go around calling people demonic scum all that much. It's not really like in my insult, it's not loaded in my insult gun. Like, yeah, you demonic scum, I got you. Ha ha. So it's just really interesting. I think Dan Bongino could cosplay as a Ninja
For as much
Turtle.
as I hate what just happened, I wish ill on no one, and everyone should restrain their emotions from the other side because they are not on our side.
How do you go from saying that to
Everyone.
that?
Once you go down the road of violence, there's no turning back. There's always someone stronger than you, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Dan Bongino is masculinity redefined. He knows all about the violent life. Doing what he has to do in the streets. Like a man. Come on.
Always. There's a whole lot of people stronger than me.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if the language distracts from you, but I can think of no other New York way to say it than fuck you, motherfuckers. You deserve to feel the little licks of the flames of hell on every inch of your body.
I didn't know where he was going to go there with the licking of something. I didn't know if he was going to straight up go South Park on us and say lick my balls, but he didn't.
Fuck you. If there's an afterlife, and I believe there is. I believe in the second creation. I don't pretend to be the judge and jury, but I know you're not in it.
Dramatic pause.
I got to tell you, I've been doing this for a really long time now.
You know what he didn't do for a long time, though? His last job. Yeah, it didn't go so good. Didn't really do that for very long.
And as I said in the beginning of the show, I walked into the dark forest. I didn't know where it was going to go. I did not have this all mapped out because I don't know what to say. People have tried being nice. People have tried screaming and yelling. People have tried a middle of the road approach. Nothing works. Ignore it, it metastasizes. Address it, it metastasizes. I wish I had the answer. I can only make decisions for me. I can't make decisions for you as to what you want to watch or what you don't. This isn't about views or who's popular or who's this.
But it kind of is about views and who's popular because ever since Dan came back to the Dan Bongino show, his viewer count has tanked. And you know who always stirs up a good drama is attacking Candace Owens. So if you want to get your views up, get in a battle with her, and holy shit, hold on. So you can't tell me that this isn't about that. Some grasping at relevance a little bit in the old influencer content creator world.
I don't care. I'm just telling you I'm making a decision for me now. I don't want to be any part of that. If you're part of that, please leave. If it is half my audience disappears tomorrow, good riddance. Sayonara, motherfuckers.
I don't know who he's talking to because that half already left. So, yeah, that ain't good.
I don't want you. Nobody else wants you here. The people who watch this show don't want you here. Sane people, and that is a majority of us, hate your guts. We don't want you.
Sounds
Nobody
like a breakup
wants you.
letter.
You were the spawn of Satan. I promise your parents, alive or dead, are looking at you now in horror that they spawned a demon.
I don't know if he's talking about Candace Owens now or a viewer that would watch Candace Owens, or I don't know, but talking about some demon spawn, apparently.
Your last name will live in infamy. Your kids will deny knowing you. I don't want anything to do with you. I see you out there. I know exactly what you're doing.
Dad, I just want you to be proud of me. Why don't you say you love me, Dad?
You can just go. It's not an airport. You don't have to announce your fucking departure. Just go. I'm the anti-clicks view guy. I don't want you. Your views, your clicks, nothing.
I think that's a lie.
Don't buy anything. Don't do anything. Don't touch anything we do. Just go away. I know you can't because you have to spread your cancer everywhere.
Oh my God.
But we've got warriors in this audience too who don't want to listen to your fucking bullshit either.
Yeah, warriors.
Are we clear with each other?
Yeah, Dan, I don't really know who you're talking to, but I don't know if I'm a spawn of Satan or if Candace Owens is a spawn of Satan or what, but loud and clear, I wasn't going to watch your show and I still won't watch your show. So, yeah, that was weird. That was weird. You can't tell me you weren't a little upset by that, Dan. Can't tell me you're not a little upset by your ratings tanking, you know? There's no way. So, okay. All right, so now that we have heard, Dan's response to Candace dropping her new series, we'll call it, it comes to people's attention. So this guy, let's see if I can make this bigger for you. Yeah, this guy, Matt Wallace, who is also a content creator, influencer on the right, we'd say, you know. He posts this on X. Full disclosure, I was offered money today to say bad things about Candace Owens and turned it down. Oh, okay. The plot thickens a little bit. Oh, I love drama. I love it. So I went on X, did a little digging around because I want to know what the hell this is talking about, because I started seeing tweets talking about a targeted smear campaign, and this Dan Bongino video was mentioned. So I went looking a little bit, and I see this here. Make sure you guys can kind of see it here. This person wrote, vindicated this morning. This morning I said that there was a coordinated attack against Candace Owens over her Erica Kirk investigation. Now a leaked Turning Point USA email confirms it, laying out the smear campaign and even scripting the talking points. They were told to call her evil and demonic. Remember, we mentioned that. And right on cue, clowns like Dan Bongino parroted it word for word. These people are too stupid to think for themselves. They need Erica Kirk to do it for them. So let me read this to you. So again, I don't know if this is a legit email that got leaked, etc., but that is the claim right now, okay? So if it turns out that this is a hoax and AI, whatever, but I think I have some other proof that will show it's not, okay? So the subject of this email that apparently got leaked was urgent. Shut down Candace's latest smear. Action needed tonight. So like ominous. This isn't journalism. It's pure evil, demonic, there's that word again, slander against a widow still in mourning, dragging Charlie's name and legacy through the mud for clicks and clout. We've seen her pattern before, but this time it's personal, it's vicious, and it has to stop. Talking points. It's so funny. Talking points. Use these verbatim or close variations. Candace Owens is evil. Pure evil. This is demonic. Straight up satanic level attack on a widow and her kids. I like this one a lot. Candace is a demon obsessed with destroying Charlie's family. Another talking point. How can any real Christian stay silent while she attacks Erika Kirk like this? She's not asking questions. She's conducting a witch hunt. Action items. Do this now before it trends further. Quote or reply to this key post, and it's like linking an X post, exposing the trailer, and call it out using the language above. Share and quote Graham Allen's strong stand. He's leading the charge. His video declaring he's coming for everyone responsible. Boost this hard. Post your own version if you have reach. Tag big accounts like Cat Turd, Gunther, Eagle Man, Wells Jordan, blah, 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 all these people. Flood the replies under any Candace defending or neutral posts with the demonic evil framing. Make it impossible to ignore. This is crazy. If this is true, this is crazy. This coordinated push works against her before. It can bury this trailer before episode 1 even drops. Don't let discernment crowd spin this as brave truth-telling. It's exploitation of tragedy. If you're in, hit reply within, and we'll keep you in the loop on the next update for Charlie, for Erica, for the kids, for what's left of decency on our side. Stay strong. Okay, so there we have that. So basically what they're saying is that email went out to a bunch of people saying, this is the message. We all need to say this message to pretty much discredit Candace Owens' claims on the Erica Kirk series that she's dropping, right? And so I saw that email and I was like, maybe that's real. You know, maybe that really came out. Then people started, because you go to X, you get pretty much everything you want and a lot you don't want. However, people started putting together a bunch of tweets, or whatever they're calling X now, from all of those influencers that were tagged in that email. And it's pretty shocking how most of their tweets are very similar and also follow the same, we'll call it guidance, that email said. So let's take a look at this. So let me make sure you see that. So this top one is from that Graham Allen guy. I'm convinced Candace Owens is a demon. Cat Turd, just so you know, Candace Owens is pure evil. She's a demon, straight from the bowels of hell. Another one, Candace is a demon. Another one, Candace Owens is a demon from the pit of hell. Another one, I'm not so sure if Candace Owens is merely a demon. I think the devil gave her, it cuts off, blah, blah, blah. Another one, Candace Owens is a genuine demon. I have no other explanation for why she's doing what she's doing. Another one, what Candace Owens is doing is the most wicked and satanic thing that has ever come from the online right. One more, whether you are Candace fan or not, this is evil. So look at all of those tweets and tell me that there's not a common thread throughout them all. And tell me it doesn't match up with the instructions of that email. I think it's really interesting. And in my mind, there's obviously some form of a coordinated smear campaign against Candace. And it's pretty clear to see which right-wing influencers are involved in this smear campaign. And then you wonder, well, who's funding this? Why would somebody do this, right? I think there's a couple options. Obviously, Turning Point USA. They don't want to look bad, right? That's not a good look for them. I would say could be our greatest ally. You know who I'm talking about. Could be them. You know, could be the administration, the current administration. And you might be like, why would Trump and the current administration care what Candace Owens says about Erika Kirk? Because it does seem like a little bit removed. But here's the way that I look at that particular point. So there's Christians on the right, and then there is the MAGA movement, which to me is, they're the most evangelical, fanatical Christians in, you know, that are in support of Trump. So MAGA is basically this current administration's ride or die, you know, no matter what, they're always going to support. And Turning Point USA seems to be this administration's propaganda arm, right? A conduit, sort of. So it wouldn't be in the best interest of the current administration if Turning Point USA basically imploded on itself and Erika Kirk, you know, absolutely failed. The current administration would lose a big platform, so to speak, right? Because if Turning Point USA can hype up MAGA and get a whole bunch more support through the things that they're doing, then it automatically gains favor with the administration. It just kind of like all goes hand in hand. But if it isn't the current administration and it is our greatest ally, let's look at that. That'd be interesting. So let's just look at this clip here from Dan. Let's look at this. This is kind of interesting. Talking about our greatest ally.
That's right. What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel, the defense of Israel.
What is number one? That's right. What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel, the defense of Israel.
What is number?
Huh. What cause is number one to your heart? Israel, obviously. Duh. Why would it be like, I don't know, something to do with New York? You know, America? No. His number one is the defense of Israel. All right. Well, that's weird. Let's bring it home. Let's look at this. This is an Erica Kirk interview when she was grieving.
He would walk through the door, drop his bags, daddy's home, take his phone, Friday night, Shabbat shalom, throw it in the...
What'd she say? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Let's listen to it again.
He would walk through the door, drop his bags, daddy's home, take his phone, Friday night, Shabbat shalom, throw it in...
Shabbat shalom. Okay. That'd be a odd thing for a Christian man to say because he's not Jewish, but apparently that's a thing. That's a thing. And man, if you watch Candace Owens' episode like I did, it goes deep, and there's a lot of weird stuff with Erika Kirk. And right off the bat, look, am I saying Erika Kirk killed Charlie? No, I'm not saying that. However, I do not buy the whole widows grieve in different ways. No, there's too many clips, phone calls, interviews that surfaced right after the man died where she is completely unaffected. She goes on a podcast tour. They have kids at home. What's shocking to me too is I would hope that if that happened to me and I got my neck blown out on the internet and bled out that my wife would mourn for me in private for, man, like, would it be too much to ask for like 6 months of missing me before she takes my company over? You know, takes my company over and leads the good fight. I would really hope that somebody would be mourning if that happened to me. And here's the other interesting thing that I thought of, right? Like, okay, so there's been some talk online, like perhaps Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk, their relationship was platonic and of a business approach, if you know what I mean. Like they weren't in love necessarily, because there's rumors about Charlie, you know, and it is what it is. So, but damn, even if my friend got murdered like that on TV, I would be upset. Way more upset than she was. So even if they weren't like deeply romantically in love and soulmates and stuff like that, Jesus, they shared a house. They did have kids together. You would think even if they were just on a friend level that she would be somewhat upset when she witnesses him absolutely get murdered. That's my opinion on it, though. Doesn't seem too far out. It seems fairly reasonable to me, you know? Shabbat shalom. So this leads to like a very interesting fracture in the right, especially if the right-wing conservative influencers start going their separate ways. That's kind of interesting. But I think what's causing it is, as much as Trump wants to talk about this being the golden age and a bunch of wins and all that stuff, I think the reality is there's not a whole lot of wins, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, and not many people are seeing the golden age that we're supposed to be seeing. So there's a lot of infighting going on right now, and I'm pretty sure that the Epstein files were a huge nail in that coffin. No one wants to be on that ship, right? Like, everybody's, get me the fuck away from that ship. I have a career to look forward to. Don't want to be associated at all with that. So right there, a lot of support just started absolutely tanking. You know, absolutely tanking. And I get it. I feel that. We're going to talk about being politically homeless in a little bit. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, because it really is, it's tough. It's tough right now for a lot of people in America. We're all sort of like trudging along, working, doing our day-to-day stuff or whatever. And when we see somebody get up there and talk about how great our economy is, I'm like, oh, I didn't know our economy was doing really well, because I know a bunch of people that are just graduating from college and can't find jobs because the job market is fucking horrible. You know? I know a lot of people that can't buy homes because the prices are so high. I know a lot of people that can barely afford their rent because their rent is so high. You know? Not the Dow. No need to worry about prosecuting child abusers. No. The Dow is over 50,000, which is weird, because when I look at my admittedly small portfolio of investments, none of them are up, and if they are, not by a lot, you know. So even then, the 401ks or what, I'm looking at mine and I'm like, I mean, maybe a little bit up, but not really. Nothing to write home about, that's for sure. We've talked about this also before. The biggest, I guess, flex so far is that the border is closed for the most part, supposedly, and secure. But even then, that's all done through executive order. So when the next administration comes through, and I guarantee you it's going to be a Democrat, because this one's fumbled so many things so far, that Democrat's just going to wipe those executive orders clean, and the border will be back open again. So even the number one flex that I am happy about seems temporary at best. And like the cartels were saying, like when Trump gained office and said he was going to close the border, even the cartels were saying, look, we'll just wait this out. You got 4 years. We'll just chill. You know, now they're not chilling. The cartels are definitely not chilling in Mexico right now. That's for sure. They're popping off, but has nothing to do with what is happening with our border right now. At least not in this conversation. So let me look at this. Let's talk about the fracturing of the conservatives, of the conservative party. You know things are bad too when questioning things gets labeled as dissent, treasonous. You know, I think we all should be able to question. I think that's part of being an American. I strongly believe as an American, we should be able to question absolutely everything that our government does. In fact, I feel like it is our duty to question exactly everything our government does or wants to do. We should be right behind them, ready to put our boot up their ass if they don't do what we say. That is the way that the system should work. However, the political parties both have done a crazy job of convincing everybody that you need to have on your team jersey. Go put your team jersey on. We don't want to hear any questions from you. Go put your red jersey on. You go put your blue jersey on. No one agrees with anything from the other side, and you don't question anything from your side. Don't agree with them, and don't question your team. Put your jersey on. Sit on the bench. We're about to run some plays, you know? And I think that's not a good sign on either side. I think when a political party is doing well and has a lot of concrete ideas and plans and policies that they can stand firm on, questions shouldn't bother them. You know what? Now that I think about it, that's the way it is with most things in life, actually. You know? Have you ever questioned somebody that you knew was guilty or that you knew was lying? Like maybe you knew that your girlfriend was cheating on you and you were like, hey, so who's Tommy? And their reaction is super defensive. You know damn well who Tommy is. Right? You know damn well just by somebody's reaction. Or if you've ever asked, can I see your phone? And they're like, why do you want to see my phone? Why are you invading my privacy? You know, somebody that has nothing to hide. Here's my phone. Or Tommy's the DoorDash guy. I don't know. You know? But questions don't bother secure people. Especially politicians. You know, they should be used to questions, but somehow it's shifted. The tone has shifted to where you can't question your own party, or the other people in the party turn on you and try to shun you and exile you. That's not good. That's not good. You know, both sides have convinced their players to police themselves, you know? That's not good. So, let's talk about why I personally feel a little bit of, let's just say, dissatisfaction with the current administration. And I wrote down, there's so many like promises, I had to write it down because there was no way I was just going to be able to free, off the top of my head. Okay. So there's a list of promises that have failed to be kept by the current administration. IRS overhaul, dismantling of the IRS and replacing it with tariffs. Not happening. Cost of living relief, like I was talking about earlier, prices have not come down since COVID. They're just that creep keeps on going up. And like I was just saying, the pandemic era accountability, no consequences for all those shutdowns, all that economic destruction and damage that was done during that period of time. We were promised that people were going to be held accountable for that. Remember, Fauci was going to, go to jail or something. No, none of that. We were told that they were going to eliminate the Department of Education. Nope. It's still there. Structurally it hasn't been removed. Stop funding foreign countries. Foreign money still flowing, still pouring out, still going to Ukraine, still going to Israel, still going, spend. Right? It's crazy. Oh, speaking of spending, remember the promise of the $5,000 Doge check? Nope, hasn't happened. So now we're hearing all about this big pharma pressure that the prescription costs are going to go down and they're going to be the lowest ever or in the world or some shit. My prescriptions haven't changed. They've stayed the same. Doge was supposed to eliminate do massive spending cuts, government waste and fraud reduction. Still spending the same. The budget's bigger, the fraud's still there. Although I know that there's this panel now to fight fraud, but wasn't that what Doge was? So I'm kind of confused. We're doing like Doge 2.0. It's weird. All right. So then we were promised that they were gonna reduce the surveillance state, the deep state. It's the opposite. I would argue that there's more surveillance now with private tech companies like Palantir. We saw all of that play out in Minnesota with the ICE riots and stuff, and how much that Palantir played into that whole equation. There's the release of the files. They're going to release them. They're going to expose them. There's been no justice from the files. Other than there's been a couple people that have gotten in trouble from other countries, but I'm just talking about people that are in our country and under our control. Then there's Venezuela. Remember all that oil that we got? I haven't seen any lower prices at the pump. And now if it pops off with Iran and they close the strait there, yeah, gas prices are going to go up high. And maybe it's to be said that this is a strategic thing and we took the oil from Venezuela thinking ahead for if the Iranian conflict does close the strait there where the trading of oil goes through, then we'll just be able to use the oil from Venezuela. Maybe. I don't know if they're thinking that far ahead though. Whatever. Remember the whole drain the swamp thing? There's literally been no punishment. No one has been held accountable for the past administration when they weaponized certain institutions against us or against their political adversaries, primarily Trump. Nothing happened there. Speaking of Iran, reduce foreign wars, avoid escalation, right? He's like, I'm the president of peace. I've stopped 8 wars or whatever. Look, we went into Venezuela. We nabbed their president, which was, I admit it was badass, but that's not exactly peaceful. And now we have a third of our military force parked off and around Iran. that is going to happen. We are going to war. And I say war because, you know, if it's a conflict, whatever. If they call it a war, I don't care. Bombs will be dropped, troops will be involved, etc. That will happen in Iran. Oh, and then lastly, what about the tariff checks that we were supposed to get? Still haven't gotten those. So at this point, I think a lot of people are quite pissed off at the current administration. You know, we voted for change. Every time we go to vote, we vote for change. People voted for Biden last time for change because Trump didn't do what he was supposed to do, etc. And this time people voted for Trump because Biden didn't say what he was going to do. None of them do what they say they're going to do, right? It's the same over. I'm not surprised, you know? I'm not surprised. But again, it leaves someone like me who is pretty much, and a lot of Americans out there, who's pretty much center. I might be like center right a little bit, but I have a lot of left-leaning social policy stuff that I believe in too. So I'm pretty much right in the center, and I think a lot of people are. Neither side represents us right now, you know? Neither side. So let's take a look. So let's take a look at the right and I'm going to ask myself, does this side represent me? Okay. So here's Tucker Carlson talking to Mike Huckabee about Israel. Let's listen to this.
In the entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total, and 8 million of them live here. The rest live mostly in New York or South Florida and a few other places.
Okay.
So this is a small population of people. They have connection to this land, historically, biblically.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
If Bibi's family, we know that.
I love that Tucker's pressing him on this because I've asked the same thing and it's confused me before.
They lived in Eastern Europe. There's no evidence they ever lived here. He's not religious.
But
in what sense?
How do we know
that? Do you have his family tree? No, we don't.
Do you?
He doesn't. So no one does. That's the point. So how?
But do you? No, do you? But do you? It's like that guy. Have you ever been there? Yes, but have you been there?
We know that he has any connection to this land at all.
And if there has been a practice of Judaism and a connection to the language, the Bible, the land.
His ancestors didn't. He doesn't practice Judaism in any rigorous way. His ancestors didn't live here. They didn't speak the language, and there's no evidence they ever lived here. So on what basis does he have a right to be here?
Very much speaks the language. Well, he has fought for the land. His family has fought for the land.
You're dodging a very obvious question, which is, where does this right come from? And the reason it's meaningful is because...
Yeah, which I like how Tucker is pressing him on this, because it's like, if you're going to go with you're God's chosen people and it's in the Bible and everything, well, we need to define that. Like, we need to figure out who those people were. And we have the technology to do that now with DNA testing and all that stuff. But I'm so glad that Tucker is actually pressing somebody who is using the religious excuse for Israel.
There are a lot of people in the territory that Israel controls today, particularly in the West Bank, who, through genetic testing, we can know their families have been here for thousands of years. We don't know whether they practiced Judaism, whether they were Samaritans, pre-Islam. We don't know that. A lot of them we know have been Christians for 2,000 years. They have less of a right to the land than someone whose ancestors, the only thing we know about them is they lived in Latvia or Poland. They're Eastern European. How does that work?
They're Jewish.
By
oh, I don't understand now. I'm even more confused.
What definition?
They're Jewish by their
But how do we know they have any connection
They're
to
Jewish
the Jews
by their faith. They're Jewish
Bible?
by the connection to the language. Jewish by the connection to the Torah.
But how do we know that Bibi, specifically Bibi's ancestors, ever lived here? How do we know that?
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
I'm not sure if you're not retarded. How do you not? You understand his question. You just don't know how to answer it because it is a very confusing thing to try to work your way through if you're using the Bible to justify the existence of Israel.
How do we know if the Prime Minister of Israel's ancestors ever lived?
Maybe I could ask you, how do we know they didn't? I mean,
well, it's on the
gotcha, bitch.
Basis of the claim that they did, that all kinds of things happen. People are displaced. There's a money flow. I mean, it's a big question. A lot hangs on this. It's not some theoretical thing like, oh, you know, did my grandparents do this or do that? It's like, no, we have a right to be here because my ancestors were here. Okay, how do we know they were here?
I'm totally unable to process what you're trying to get at.
How can you be that dumb? He's not that dumb. He just doesn't want to answer the question. And Tucker brings up a really good point, though. He's like, look, if Israel is going to use this reasoning for, say, expanding, I don't want to use words because YouTube doesn't like it, expanding into different areas because the justification is that land was promised to them by God. Who is them? Promised to them. Well, we need to define them. And what Tucker was saying makes perfect sense. Okay, well, let's trace back who was living here in that time period. And it wasn't people from Poland. So it gets real confusing. So anyways, again, another example, that doesn't represent me on the right, as this is a thing on the right. I don't believe in that. It doesn't represent me. So let's take another look at a clip from that interview.
You've appealed to Genesis. Genesis 15 says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God the news that his descendants will inherit the land. And you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. I think that's right. And that would include like basically the entire Middle East. That would be the Levant. So that would be Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. It would also be big parts of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It would be, I mean,
I'm not sure it would go that far. I mean, it would be a big piece of land, but here's the point.
It would be a lot of places that are now countries.
But this particular area that we're talking about now, Israel, is a land that God gave through Abraham to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zionism, I want to go back because that's where we started.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
Yeah, see, I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that. So these are important things to the people on the right. And if this is the way that the people, some people on the right think, well, that doesn't represent me. I personally don't think that Israel can just take over the whole Middle East. I personally don't believe that Israel's God's chosen people and it was given to them, whatever, 3,000 years ago, like the meme is. I personally don't believe that. So I'm not finding home on the right. Here's another one. Lindsey Graham. Oh, Lindsey. Look at this. Again.
When you look at the last few years since October 7th, many people in this part of the world say what happened in Gaza does not align with Christian values. killing children, killing mothers,
Well, to be honest
killing
with you,
families who
yeah.
are not militants.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all.
Why?
Because what did we do in World War II? Did we think 1 minute about starving the Germans? Did we bomb every city into smithereens? So this is a war. No,
October 7th to World War II.
Yes, I am. This is an absolute existential threat to the Jewish people. What happened on October the 7th was 1,200 people were slaughtered, raped, and murdered and filmed by radical Islamists who would kill every Jew if they could, to the world. If you don't understand this is a threat to Israel's
And then they
survival,
flattened Gaza.
just flatten it. We flattened Berlin. We flattened Tokyo. Were we wrong to drop an atomic bomb to end the Japanese reign of terror? Were we? So my view, if I were Israel, I would have probably done it the same way. Without military victory, there is no hope of breaking radicalism. We flattened Germany. We flattened Japan.
How many Americans
Wait a
believe
minute.
this?
Out of that,
the way that how many Americans think the way that you do?
I think most Republicans think the way I do.
Even young ones.
Yeah, you're just out of touch if you don't understand Republicans, when it comes to radical Islam, is on Israel's side.
Yeah, see, again, I don't believe that. So therefore, that Republican viewpoint does not represent me, right? So when I'm politically homeless and I'm looking for things that I agree with on the right, and I see stuff like that, I'm like, that doesn't represent me. And then I look at things like this from the left, and while the president just had the State of the Union, the Democrats threw this thing called the State of the Swamp. All right, so let's look at this. Let's see if I fit in with this.
I'm fresh out of an ICE prison in Minneapolis. I've been arrested 3 times by ICE over absurdity, over us being ourselves, over me singing songs like, "Hey, Mr. Tangerine Man, get rid of brown people for me. I'm Aryan white, there ain't no place I'm going to." And then all of a sudden, he's not ready for primetime player ICE agents with 2 weeks of training come after me. I got arrested in Portland. I got arrested in Minneapolis in the last 3 weeks twice. But they can't erase a movement, all right?
Oh, yeah. Such a strong movement by clearly sane, mentally stable, respectable citizens like Giraffe Man here. Yeah. Yeah.
What I went through is 1/1000th of a lot of marginalized people and what they have to go.
I think when he's talking about marginalized people, he's clearly talking about elephants and hippos and other animals of his surroundings in the safari.
Through in those ICE detention centers. And I want to tell you something right now. There's an announcement. Pumpkin Spice Satan is making his way to the State of the Union. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to rev up the show right now. We're giving out prizes. We're going to have bingo. We're going to storm the White House with love and compassion. I'm fresh out.
Okay. Well, I know that didn't represent me, but maybe it gets a little better. Let's look at another clip from the State of the Swamp, and maybe that will represent me a little bit more, and I'll relate to it.
Ice out, fuck ICE. Yeah.
That's a lot of old people in there.
Fuck ICE, fuck ICE.
Fuck ICE, fuck ICE, fuck ICE, fuck ICE.
A lot of old people and a lot of women in that room, that is for sure. Okay, well, that didn't represent me very well. Again, maybe it gets better. Maybe there's another one. Let's take a look at this.
I'm a mother. I am a physician, and I have a flag. And I am the proud representative for Oregon's 3rd Congressional District. Yes, thank you, thank you. And tonight, I defy Trump and his authoritarian project by standing in joyful, radical, peaceful resistance with the Portland Frog Brigade.
Nope. That didn't represent me, that's for sure. You lost me. You lost me. There is not a ounce of masculinity in that room to slap some reason into them and say, listen, I don't know what this bullshit is, but little cute frogs and little flags and whatever is not, that doesn't represent me as a man. Nope. Oh, okay. Well, here's another gathering from the left. Maybe these people will represent me a little bit more. Let's take a look at this one.
No pueden encarcelarnos a todas.
A lot of women again. A lot of singing.
Pueden encarcelarnos a todas. No pueden encarcelarnos a todas. Imprison us all day. Hey. Woo! Okay. I think I did okay. You did amazing. Yes. Woo!
Slay Queen. Yeah, that doesn't represent me. Nope. Nope. Not one bit. That does not represent me. Bunch of fat Karens singing. Nope. Doesn't make me want to sign up. Doesn't make me want to become a Democrat and rep the team. I'm not putting that team jersey on, that's for sure. And then there was all this, you know, Super Bowl drama. The old halftime show. I didn't watch it because I don't even watch football, to be honest. I know, right? But I went back afterwards because there was the Super Bowl. They had Bad Bunny on there. And then there was Kid Rock. So Turning Point USA did their own thing. And they were like, we're the American, you know, we're the American halftime show and the other one's not. And there's all this whatever bullshit about racism and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, if I were to watch the Super Bowl, if I were to have gone back in time, would I have picked the Bad Bunny or would I have picked Kid Rock? So let's look at the Bad Bunny first. Okay, first off, that's a lot of countries that don't play American football. Maybe some of the players on there have ties to those countries, but that's a lot of countries that aren't in America, you know, where football is. This isn't the World Cup. It's not soccer. Football's not played all over the world. Okay, anyways, let him continue. Okay, well, I don't speak that language. I don't live in any of those countries, so that didn't really represent me. Let's take a look at a real brief clip, because that already probably got me demonetized for playing that song, but let's take a real quick look at the Kid Rock one, okay?
My name is Kid.
American flag.
It's Kid,
Oh, okay. Oh, well, it was like, that was more American. However, I don't think Kid Rock is necessarily the best representative of America, especially since, remember that one song he had? Title was Cool Daddy Cool. Let me quote some lyrics for you. Young ladies, I like 'em underage. Some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory. Yep. Well, that doesn't represent me. That doesn't represent me. That's not the American I want to be. That's kind of weird for Turning Point USA to host Kid Rock when he's known for that. That's interesting to me. I don't know what to say about that. So then I was like, well, let me dig a little deeper into Turning Point USA to begin with, because if Erica Kirk is freaking weird, then maybe Turning Point USA isn't this wonderful Christian value company that says that it is. So, all right, we did a little research here. So I don't have anything to show you, so I'm gonna read this. So you're gonna listen to me. So Erica Kirk is going on a speaking tour called Make Heaven Crowded. And on this tour, she has another speaker. She invited another speaker on there. His name is Paul Havsgaard. Might be not pronouncing that amazingly. Let me tell you about Paul. So he has some allegations against him. So he's alleged sexual abuse of minors at a church-supported children's home in Romania. Alleged grooming and exploitation of vulnerable children residing in those homes. Allegations include coercion and trafficking related claims involving minors under his supervision. Claims that misconduct occurred over a multi-year period, late 1990s through 2000s. Plaintiffs allege abuse was facilitated by his authority position within the ministry structure. No publicly reported criminal convictions tied to this. These are all civil allegations. That's kind of weird, right? If Turning Point USA is this amazing Christian, family values thing, why would you invite a speaker that has a whole bunch of allegations of sexual abuse and trafficking minors? That's odd to me, okay? So then there's this other guy. His name's Paul Vallely. I think that's how you pronounce it. So Paul, he is retired U.S. Army Major General and a political commentator, but I don't care about that. So historically, he's listed as serving on or affiliated with Turning Point USA's Advisory Council. Advisory roles, like consulting them, etc. Okay? So what's weird about Paul is he, in the 1980s, co-authored a book on psychological operations. All right, that's a little weird. Okay? He co-authored it with this guy named Michael Aquino. Might be pronouncing that wrong. So let me tell you about Michael. Michael is the founder of the Temple of Set, which is a satanic, openly, a satanic organization. He's former U.S. Army psychological operations officer as well. So why would Turning Point USA have somebody on their advisory council that co-wrote a book with a openly well-known Satanist? That just doesn't really seem like you would want advice from somebody that had ties to a Satanist if you are a Christian organization. And it definitely doesn't make sense that you would have somebody speaking and go on your speaking tour that has all of these alleged child abuse allegations. It's just odd. So then them picking Kid Rock maybe does make a little bit more sense now, right? However, that still doesn't represent me. That still leaves me politically homeless, because I looked at all those clips and this Turning Point USA stuff to represent the right, and I'm like, I'm not down with that. And then I look at all the weird shit on the left with the dancing frogs and the singing and the giraffe man and fuck ice and all that stuff. It's like, I'm not down with that either. So I'm just in the middle. Just in the middle. Politically homeless. But the Dow is over 50,000. That is what matters, right? I don't know. What do you all think? I thought that was pretty interesting. Of course, not everything going back to the Candace Owens drama. I'm actually going to watch episode 2 of that series because I right before I went live, I noticed that it released. And I was like, oh boy. Oh boy. I can't wait. I can't wait. Because, even if not everything is as it should be, right? Even if she's blowing certain things out of the water, there is a lot of digging that Candace, if you ever want to know something about somebody, make that person piss Candace off and she will freaking dig all the way to China to find out what the real scoop is. So I am interested to see what she dug up in this one. So, but anyways, yeah, that's all I have for you tonight. That's all I have. That was a quick one, which is good. We got through the drama and we're moving on. So I'll catch you all next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you all being here. Please like, comment, subscribe. Helps the channel out a lot. Can't even tell you how much it helps. And I will catch you guys later.